we would have basically a hot link on every town's webpage that would have our WUMA logo, and then if somebody wanted more information, they could click on that, and then it would migrate to our homepage. They would have our meeting minutes, agendas, where the next meeting was going to be, any articles or discussions from the towns that we need to post. Ann has taken charge of that, and the page looks awesome. We've just about got it ready to go. And then lastly, something more that I had asked for our review was one of the members brought up about an insurance review, that the town had been sued and they found out that they actually weren't covered for something that wound up costing them some money. And so their suggestion to the group was that, hey, y'all might want to go back and just do a general review if you haven't lately of what your town policies cover and don't cover. And I know I made that request with Lisa, and hopefully we'll be getting that set up for sometime here in the future. And that's all I got.
Okay, very good. There are no more. We will move on to public comments. Any public comments? Okay. Safety report. Deputy Crop, we're glad you made it.
Thank you. I was stuck out in traffic.
I know.
So, for some of y'all that don't know me, I'm Deputy Crop. I work for the Union County Sheriff's Office. I'm one of the contract deputies assigned to the town of Weddington. During the month of October, continue to work with the Steeplechase residents. We met yesterday evening here at the town hall. We feel like I was able to give them some information regarding the statistics and things we found when we had the radar trailer out on Weddington Church Road, and we were able to sort of discuss some things they may be able to do and some things that, that aren't possible right now because of DOT regulations and things like that. But overall, I feel that the meeting was very productive and we're moving in the right direction to develop some solutions.
Good.
So hopefully we'll be heading in the right direction. Halloween night, Deputy Wren and I both worked patrolling neighborhoods during the trick-or-treating event. There was a good amount of people out and about. I was primarily assigned to the neighborhoods, interacting with residents and whatnot, and he was sort of taking calls as they came along. It was clearly a good opportunity for us to get out and have an additional deputy out there just to sort of be in the neighborhoods. I gave out about 35 pounds of candy.
So, you did?
Yeah, it was a good time. It really was.
Oh, good. I saw the pictures. I saw the pictures. Those are awesome.
So also, we're just urging residents throughout the county, just watch your speed, be aware of your driving. We had a very serious wreck on Forest Lawn about a week ago. We had fly one to Charlotte. So it's very, very serious motorcycle accident. So just be very, very careful as you're out and about. If you have any speed related issues in your particular neighborhood or on a certain road, please go to the town hall website, fill out a radar request, and we'll get the trailer out to your neighborhood when the schedule permits. So,
okay.
I do know that you were back out on Forest Lawn the next day, or somebody was, with catching traffic and stuff. Are you, because it's pretty bad right out there. That accident happened right in front of my house.
Yeah, it's
So,
the speed out there is definitely a problem, but it's not the only problem.
no, I know.
And the reason I say that is I had the radar trailer out on Beulah Church Road for 2 days, and we've already seen speeds over 80 miles an hour.
Seriously?
Wow.
So,
And I wouldn't be surprised to see it on
and
Forest Lawn.
so that's why you saw us out there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some of that could be,
That's crazy.
it could
Crazy.
be, it's not a super large amount of vehicles, and that's wide range, so it could have been some sort of emergency vehicle going to a call or something like that. But if you look at statistical data based on what we've seen out there, it's definitely people are really creeping up over that threshold that we would want to see them out there going. So it's definitely providing us some good feedback, so we know when to sit out there. And, we set it out on Cox Road one time before. We realized, okay, high school kids get out of school, this is when we need to be out here. So,
Right. Okay.
thank you.
Very good. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much. All right. Next on our agenda, we have a pre-application presentation by Roots Farm. So I don't know who's going to speak first. We have Randy Peterson, Sarah Beeson, and Colin Brown here to go over this presentation. So welcome, Mr. Peterson and Roots Farm. We're glad you're here.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for having us on the agenda tonight and giving us the opportunity to formally introduce you to our plans for Roots Farm. As you just mentioned, joining me tonight is Colin, you're right behind me. So, and Colin Brown and Sarah Beeson, who are part of our team that are working on the real details of the plan. You'll hear from both of them in just a minute. So, as I think all of you in the room tonight, except for maybe the deputy, don't know, but I have the distinct pleasure of working for the founders and visionaries, owners of Roots Farm, Margaret and Smokey Bissell. And since they acquired this property in March of 2017 from Dr. Francis Robichek, the Bissells, along with our small team, have explored a number of ideas and concepts on the uses of the land. And at every corner, we have kept coming back and back to the Bissell's desire of preserving as much of the land as possible, so the community, especially the residents of Weddington, will always have a place that represents and honors its past as a farming community. Our idea board has plenty to explore and changes on a daily basis. We've tried to be extremely deliberate, thoughtful, and intentional on our approach in creating ways to honor the rural character of the town, but more importantly, providing future generations the gift of open space, preservation of an enormous amount of tree canopy, and moreover, the ability to interact with nature and agriculture and live in a community of purpose. So it has indeed been a process, and one that we feel that brings unique excitement and is full of the possibility as we come forth to town over the next few weeks and months. And so if I may, we put together a little presentation that was in your deck, and I'd like to kind of walk you through the highlights, because I know a lot of you are eager to see that or walk through this. So, all right, next slide. So taking root, first of all, I will say that all the pictures represented in the presentation tonight are all actual pictures of the farm. Most taken by a little 12-year-old, 13-year-old that's better known as my sidekick or son. So we are taking root. We are proposing to build an agriculture-centric community built around a working farm that will preserve its rural character, inspiring health and wellness through a connection of nature and all the things that benefits it, all the benefits that it provides. So our story, so our overall property, as I think most of you know, is about 330 acres, 215 are which in Weddington, which has been our primary focus. And we've got active crops. We have over 225 acres of hardwood forest. And as I think anyone that's been out to visit us will see that we have spent the last 16 months or 18 months in a very intentional way of going in and hand clearing anything under 6 to 8 inches, all the understory, and allowing the forest to breathe. So if I was here in front of you 18 months ago, I would be talking about our intent to just do the forest piece of it. Well, that work has been complete and it will always be ongoing. And so the amount of hardwoods has really opened up, and it's just an absolutely incredible tree canopy sitting right here in Weddington. So rather than destroy the natural landscape and building hundreds of homes on large lots, we are seeking rezoning for an innovative plan that will centralize the home sites where they are surrounded by gardens, orchards, walking trails, and a preserved tree canopy. So I really didn't understand the meaning of this, even though it's been kind of working around our head until the other day. You don't have to move mountains to create something special. In our word, mountains out here has been the amount of dirt that has been dug and created a lot of mountains. And there's some that we can show some great examples of not too far down the road. So one of the things that you may all have seen a little change along Providence Road is I won't say the full restoration, but I will say the definitely intentional repair of the 1907 Ennis farmhouse. And so this house is at the corner of Providence and Ennis Road, and you haven't been able to see it for a number of years. And so over the last really 6 weeks, we've been busy at work to repairing this. And this is where the sunroof was. And we've taken it down and found we had no foundation, so we've just built the foundation under here. and restored it to what it would look like in 1907. And so stay tuned, because this piece will be your cornerstone at Ennis Road. We've got the landscaping plan, the old 1900 farm plan that will come in around that. And this will be kind of our focal point and center point of a welcoming place to Roots Farm, and as a way to honor the Ennises and all the land that they farmed and lived here in Weddington. So we want to let the land dictate the plan, which is a little different than the traditional approach to development. And so what we mean by that is that the land, its characters, its features really need to speak to us and allow the team to really place make, for lack of a better word, around where things need to go. And so there's not a lot of discipline around lines and lots and all those type of things, as much as around preserving the open space, the agriculture, the health and wellness. We've got deep roots, as I think the mayor mentioned earlier before the meeting, that the Houston family had this property for years and generations. And so this land has deep roots on it, where farmers are growing crops, and it's a legacy that's going to continue. We want to honor the past, but we definitely want to build for the future in a sustainable and meaningful way. And then more importantly, we want to give the opportunity for Weddington specifically to have a forever farm. So single ownership will always ensure that, and there's ways that we can accomplish that we can get into as we go through the rezoning process. So real quickly, our vision, public benefit. Where else in Weddington can you come out and have the public to be able to interact and walk in trails amongst the trees, to be able to smell flowers, to be able to see lavender, to be able to do things and interact with food, to be able to see demonstration farmers and all those type of things. So our public benefit is going to be great. I think it will grow only in time with the scalability, but more importantly, it's going to be centered on education. So young and old will have the opportunity to come out and have the ability to touch, feel, smell, and be inspired to go back and learn about things, from demonstration cooking classes to master gardeners to working with the Union County Extension group that we've been meeting with extensively to bring in and draw in the universities at the local or at the community college level to the universities in the region. You know, essentially Roots Farm, our desire, Bissell's desire is for it to be a living laboratory where things can really be shared, grown, learned, explored, and really honored. Sustainability, our plans right now, which sometimes holds us back because of our limitations of getting it right. Our sustainability focus is around geothermal. It's around solar. It's around preservation of the tree canopy. It's around making sure that we are doing things in a way that will only sustain the land. And I think this gives us a real meaningful opportunity to really demonstrate and to show how things can be done the right way once you take the time to really think through it, do it, and invest into it. So our villages, as I mentioned earlier, around the purposeful commitment to live at Roots Farm will be around small villages. So our thought is and remains is we'll have small pods of villages where the home sites will be a lot smaller. They will all have farm look and feel. And I think we've put some of those representations in your packet that are conceptuals. And Mr. Bissell is using the word villages with purpose, because the purpose will be that people have the ability to interact with your neighbors. And so with front porches, you can imagine what it's like to walk through your front porch or your little village area and see your neighbors and interact with them regardless of the age. And then your backyard is the remaining of the 330 acres that you can get to go out and explore on. And then open space. We are proposing and committed to 70% open space. And that's a big number. And that's a number that we're really confident that we can achieve. And more importantly, it's a number that really provides the opportunity for this land to be preserved forever and ever as an asset, not only to Weddington, but here in Western Union County and the region. And then yes, we are proposing around agritourism, and the ability to have a rural retreat is a small 35-room inn. And really the purpose of the inn is to be able to draw the community and the center in, to be able to have a, in some cases, a 5th bedroom for people to stay, but more importantly, it's where the education and inspiration and all those types will take place. So, yeah. So to do this, I think we have the opportunity to really maybe bring something unique and different to Weddington into the area that we'll probably have to help explore and define some new definitions, one of which is the agri-hood. So if you kind of think about it in the big high level, an agri-hood, it kind of sets us. It's a community farm it's a centerpiece of development. And our agri-hood is going to be centered around our specialty farmers. And so we already have a few there today. We have more on the way, and it's around growing and showing where food is sourced. What it's not is thousands of acres of growing one crop anymore. What it is the ability to integrate a lot of different things. It's the ability to integrate a mushroom farmer who's growing over 215 pounds and can go up to 500 pounds of mushrooms a week that's feeding, or not feeding, that is sourcing to 40 to 50 restaurants in the area, and is also at farmers market every day, and has a list now of 150 residents they're delivering to here in the region.
Wow.
What it is a bee farm that really allows pollinators to come in and to really do the things that we all need for all of our gardens, from our backyard gardens to all of our farms around the community, so that we can bring that into this. What it is maybe somebody who really loves tomatoes that needs a half an acre and the infrastructure to really come on and do that. So think about the specialty farms in a different way of agriculture, and that they will be the centerpiece of how things live, organize, and give us the ability to interact. So red okra was something that we tried this year, had a lot of success with it, and so we're looking for the red okra specialist that may need a little farm. And so the farming will all be
Does it
around.
taste like green okra?
It does not. It has a whole different taste to it.
Ah, that's interesting. I need to get some.
So yeah, and obviously
That's
some four-legged friends. Right now we have 12 goats in our sustainable land management program. They have 16 acres. We just dropped from 25 down to 12, and they are our friendly friends and show up in places that you would least expect. And so we have a lot of, yes, we have a lot of fun with goats right now. So learn about goats. So the 3 components of the farm will be the agri-hood, agribusiness, and agritourism. And so the agri-hood is the overall, all the moving parts to enable this to happen. The agribusinesses are these small businesses of farmers being able, and other pieces around the agri, to come in and show local ways of how, to shine a light on their craft. It could be from the small artisans to the small farmers. How do we actually produce the honey, and then how do we get that back out to the community? So the agribusiness component of it is the ability to showcase a lot of the things that we can do in the agri-hood. And then the agritourism is what draws people in. And so from the residential component to the community component, the tourism piece of it is just this big white canvas that will allow people to come in and interact. And it may be coming out to listen to an acoustic, guitar player, to coming in with the Garden Club of Weddington, which I can't wait to meet with and share their opportunity to really come in and have a master place to come and put their hands in the dirt, to hosting master gardener classes in Weddington. And to be able to have master gardening classes and to be able to work and bring those type of educational experiences into Weddington, as opposed to having to drive to other parts of the county. And so the opportunities are endless there on the agritourism piece, the agribusiness piece, and then our themes of the agri-hood. So our core principles is really to explore, hike the trails, smell the flowers, enjoy the harvest, and engage with the land. Learn, educational opportunities and demonstration kitchens open to the public, provides a closer connection to food, nature, and more importantly, the community. And I love this one, to unwind. Why not let nature pamper us after sitting on Providence Road with fresh air, fresh food? And then Mrs. Bissell reminds us this greatly, and have a renewed sense of wonder. What is your wonder? What is your imagination? aware of places here in the region, the vicinity, that can allow us to really go out and be inspired that way. So I think all of you know, I don't think everyone realizes the magnitude of the property until you actually get out and see it, and not being accused of talking too much. So, so we really sit between Ray Road and Newtown Road, and this is the entire property, again, of which about 215 acres is in Weddington. So we go from Crane all the way to Providence. We have two wonderful neighbors on the county side of the AME Zion Church and the Mount Pisgah Baptist Church. And a little bit about the Bissell's. This is without a doubt, no questions asked, a legacy project of the Bissell's. This is something you're going to be reading about and hearing about in the days and weeks ahead as we come forth with our formal applications and seeing their heartbeat. And we've got ways that we're going to visualize that. You'll see that. They are so incredibly committed to open space and preservation, and to do this as a gift back to the region and to the area and for future generations. They both have connections to this area, and they keep us grounded in making sure that we get it right every day. And so that's a little bit at the end of mine. So I'll come back at the end. I think that's the next steps, but this time I'll turn it over to the.
Thanks, Randy. That's a tough act to follow. That exciting information. My name is Colin Brown. I'm a partner with the law firm of Alexander Ricks. I'm a land use attorney. This is my associate, Sarah Beeson, who's the brains of the operation. But our team, we handle about 50 rezonings a year through the Charlotte region. And I've been doing this for almost 20 years. And there aren't many that are this special or this exciting. So it's a lot of fun to be on this team and really try to implement, the zoning is where the rubber meets the road. So we talked about a lot of great vision things. And now our job is to work with your planning staff and your town attorneys to make sure we're developing an ordinance that serves that and protects the town. And so the first thing we did, we looked at your current ordinance, and the site is currently zoned RCD. That's your residential conservation district. As we open that up, we heard what the Bissell's were interested in doing with the working farm, maybe having an inn, maybe having a place where farmers can sell their wares. And so we're interested that currently your ordinance, and this is what you should know, agritourism is already permitted as a conditional use in the RCD zoning district. So that's allowed. And that definition, this is your current definition, says that agritourism means agricultural, horticultural, agribusiness operation primarily devoted to the promotion of tourism, of said operation for the purpose of enjoyment, education, or active involvement in the activities of the farm or operation, provided that said use produces revenues or attracts tourists. That's a pretty broad definition of agritourism. So as we looked at it, we thought, well, gosh, we could do a lot of these things under the existing zoning. What your RCD zoning also allows is what you see customarily a lot, single-family residential development. And so we looked at the site and said, well, what can we do out there? Well, we could certainly do a single-family subdivision like you've seen. And in fact, this is a site plan that a single-family developer had brought to the town. So we've seen what that looks like. In our later meetings, you'll see we kind of bring that out. And I think that's been a lot of the historical context for Weddington. We wanted large lots, single-family. And that's great. It's a great quality of life. It doesn't always serve the land the best. And so what we saw here were some prior plans, and when Mr. Bissell kind of shuddered when he saw what these plans looked like. So that's a look at what's allowed. So currently we have an ordinance that we know allows agritourism pretty broadly, and would allow someone to come in and develop single-family homes by right. What we didn't have was a plan that would allow really what we're just talking about now is kind of bringing this together into an agri-hood, so that we could bring together the residential uses, some of the agritourism uses, unite them together. And so the plan I just showed you was the by right plan. And one of the things we do with the by right plan is I work with a lot of development teams. And they come in, they flatten the ground, they build it out. So we can tell you in detail, usually, without a development team, exactly what development is going to look like. What the Bissell team is trying to do is not come in and flatten the ground. So I'm going to show you a little bit of some of our site plans, and they're intentionally vague because we don't know yet. The plan is not just to come flatten and build lots like this. So what we talked about with the town is we said, well, first of all, do we have the framework to allow what we're doing? Does your ordinance allow it? And so as I mentioned, RCD district, pretty good. Agritourism's allowed, single family is allowed, but not kind of bringing it together to preserve the site. So we're proposing to do two things, and we'll be filing these later this week. One, we are talking about a text amendment to your ordinance. So we're going to make some amendments to that RCD district. And what we really want to do is be able to integrate those together. Now, what we also don't want to do is we don't want to open Pandora's box. And so we're going to spend some time with your town attorneys making sure, hey, we don't open things up. And with the town attorney, I talked a little bit about agritourism. That's pretty broad. And it may be that you guys don't want it to be that broad going forward. So maybe we rein that in a little bit. But also, the first thing we talk with staff about is, hey, this sounds great. This is a great vision, but we don't necessarily want this taking place on every parcel in town. So as we work through this ordinance, we're going to set some high standards for an agrihood. And some of the ones that we've laid out is, hey, to do an agrihood, to do some of the things we're talking about, let's have a minimum acreage of 200 acres. And that just narrows it down. There are not too many 200-acre parcels. In fact, we know where they are. We can show you where they are. So that's that. And then second, let's put a threshold of 70% open space. And part of that was saying, hey guys, if you have someone else that comes in and has over 200 acres and wants to preserve 70% open space, that's a pretty good deal. And let's not discourage that. So that is step one of our process, is working through a text amendment we want to give us the ability to develop what we need to do, and also give you guys some protections going forward. So that's going to be a good bit of back and forth. We've circulated some drafts high level that your staff has seen, the town attorney has seen, but I think that'll be an ongoing conversation as we go through this process. So that is step one, is the framework of the ordinance. Step two, which really lets you kind of get in the weeds a little bit more, is we're also going to do a conditional rezoning application. So we said, okay, your ordinance will let it allow an agrihood, but you can never do an agrihood by right. You'll still need to do a conditional zoning plan, which gives you a chance to look at a site-specific rezoning plan. And so I'll show you a little bit of this, and this will continue to evolve over the next couple of months. So our conditional zoning plan will have several things. We'll have probably end up being pages and pages of development standards. That's all the lawyerly language. We'll have an overall zoning map. We'll have a site plan. I'll show you a conceptual plan, and then we'll have some rendering. So let me give you kind of high level what you'll see. These will become a public record pretty quickly. So as I mentioned, we're gonna use what we call a bubble plan to show the uses, and I'll show you what that looks like. And the reason is, if we were doing a traditional development where the engineer just lays out blocks and everything gets flat, we know exactly what that's going to look like. The Roots team is being a lot more intentional in coming out and not necessarily drawing the home sites first, but going to look at the land and decide where the homes go and place them, maybe on knolls, maybe amongst trees, so that there's not a mass grading effect with it. So we want the ability to have some flexibility to work with these nodes. Next up, and I'll show you where we're going here. So this is a look at our bubble plan, or we'll call it probably a technical data sheet. So this will be, this is kind of the zoning. This is what will guide and govern. And so if you remember that plan I showed you to show this all cut up into single family homes, that is not the look here. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you different zones, and everything that is in this dark green, that's a natural area. So we're not going to have structures in that area. We're not going to have improved surfaces. And as you can see, the bulk of the site will be that natural area with some trail network going through it. Then we're saying, well, then in other kind of pods or areas, this is where we like flexibility to do more development. So here, this would be purely agriculture in the center. What you're really probably going to see is the residential pods. So in the yellow areas, that's where we could have residential development. We don't know exactly where the homes are going to sit. We don't have a lot plan to show you where they're going to go, but we can show you generally they're within those areas, and that's the only areas that they can be in. We also have our agritourism, agribusiness uses, and we mentioned the inn, and maybe some, the market barn where the farmers and artisans can sell their wares. So this is the overall concept plan. So this is what a lot of people will be looking at. So really showing you there, the dark dotted lines, those are our main kind of road network coming into the site. So you can see access points. The brown areas are a trail network. So this is the concept. Now to put a little more meat on this, because sometimes it's hard for lay people like myself, the engineers really see and understand that. To give a little more vision, we've got a concept plan. Just to show you, so if you remember those bubble areas, this is a concept within those areas. So you see the dark green stayed green, the agriculture areas look like fields, and where we're showing the residential pods, you can see residential units. Now we'll have a good bit of lawyerly language on this that'll say, this is not the specific plan. So it does not mean you will find a house exactly there, but within these areas, this is kind of give you a feel. So we think when we go to the neighbors and community, this allows them to visualize that. And another thing that I'd like you to visualize on this is even though we say 70% open space, probably more of the area will be open spaces. But, you know, land between the homes. So we've got a definition of open spaces for the big, but there will be a lot more greenery on the plan. And the goal of the Bissell team is that we're not scraping this site. We're keeping as much, even in the residential pods, we're keeping as much tree area as we can. We just don't know exactly where that is right now. So that's the concept plan. That'll be kind of page 2 of the rezoning. And then next up, this is kind of what gets exciting or makes you a little bit nervous maybe. But we've got, so we said, here's our bubble, here's our concept of what can go there. And then people always go, well, what's it gonna look like? What are they gonna look like? So we expect that we'll have the next sheet on our plan will be some conceptual renderings. And I'll kind of, we have varying degrees of detail. As you can see, the end is pretty far along. I think Mr. Bissell and the team have in their mind almost exactly what they're gonna build. So I think we'll have that fairly well detailed. So that'll be locked down so you can know what that looks like. You see the end at the top. There's a picture of it in its setting where it would sit on the farm. Then we've got barns. We'll have a production barn that will be purely agricultural where they're doing real agricultural stuff. We also think we'll have a market barn, and that's where the artisan shops could be, the farmers could be selling their wares. So this is the agribusiness portion of it. You've got your agritourism, the end, the agribusinesses, and then the next concept is housing. And on housing, I do want to point out, with the units, we do not have pictures of those, and we're kind of feeling that out, but we will have some concepts to show you. And then from those concepts, we'll have a set of development standards, which we'll work with your staff and your attorneys to make sure they're objective standards. But we just know we're not going to have a picture of every home at this time. But I think we understand what we want, the design details, and so working with the architecture team on some language that will say, well, what is it about this house you like? Okay, the houses have to have porches, and the roof slope has to be this, and they have to have this much glass. So we're working through that. That is a look at some of the concepts. I think we've got a few more. So as I mentioned, the end is pretty far along. So you can get a good look at what that will look like. There's the end again from an aerial, kind of set in where it is. Here's a look at the barns. Those are pretty far along. Barns again. And then next up is the housing. So we've got kind of housing types that we think are appropriate for the vernacular of the land. I think I know the Bissell team actually works with some consultants that worked with you all early on in some of the design. So that's really kind of fed the vision for that. So that is a high level look at our rezoning plan, which we'll file this week. So again, you'll have a bubble plan, kind of a big picture. You'll have a concept plan. You'll have a set of development standards and some architectural renderings. So where we are in our timeline, our goal is to submit everything this week. Our goal is Wednesday, which now we realize it's Veterans Day, but we're working on that. So our hope is to have all of that in. As we move forward through the process, then we would be looking at a public involvement meeting on December 7th, which we're now talking today about. Are we going to get a big tent out on site so people can come visit us there during the day, then do a virtual meeting in the evening. Our goal would hopefully be to the planning board by December 21st. If all goes well, you could call for a community meeting January 11th, and then we could be to a public hearing on February 8th. So it's not a fast process. We've been doing a lot of background work, but as I stand here tonight, we're at least 3 months away from a public hearing. So we expect we'll have a good amount of back and forth with your staff, your town attorneys, and maybe you all before we get there. So that's a look at this. I know that until this point, this has been pretty close to the vest. I think we wanted to make sure we had all our ducks in the row. But now I'm kind of laying out for you, once this goes public, we think there will be a lot of attention and conversation. And so Randy has been working very hard. What we don't want, we know that once word gets out, you will be getting questions from your friends, your neighbors, and your constituents. So we wanted to be here tonight, kind of to show you also you understand that, but also we're not going to leave you out there alone. Randy's been working very hard with a PR team so that this is going to tee up pretty quickly, and we hope there are a lot of resources. So I'm going to turn it back over to Randy to tell you what resources will be here to help get out the information.
Yeah, absolutely. So the plan is right now is, this guy seems to get it somewhere. So I think Lisa's like did it on purpose. So we will have a website, and so a lot of the website will be oriented towards the education, and it'll be a lot of the things that we just shared tonight. There'll also be the ability for folks to ask us any questions. And so there'll also be a growing list of FAQs. One of the things that if you've ever had the pleasure of being around Mr. or Mrs. Bissell, is about transparency. And so we really want to only be places where we're welcome. And so if we're not welcome and don't really want to be, then I can assure you they have some other things that they would be happy to pursue. But this is the focus, and this is the heartbeat, and this is the ability to do something really fun and unique. We'll also have their why. I think one of the things that's really important, and it's important to them, is for the community at large to understand what is their why and why are they doing this and why now and why Weddington. And so you'll be able to see that here hopefully by the end of the week. And so, and then obviously the accessibility and availability to be able to come out, have people walk the land with us, tours. I mean, we really want to be a community partner. We're excited about that. Roots Farm needs to be full of laughter. It needs to be full of curiosity. It needs to be full of wonder. And more importantly, it needs to be full of a place where the community can actually come and relax and unwind and interact with each other. And that's one of the things that keeps us motivated day in and day out, is understanding the magnitude of that. And as I started earlier, going back to getting it right. Because once we go in and start, if we were to approach it like other traditional ways, we would have gotten it right on one side of the balance sheet, but missed it completely on the right of the land and the preservation of the Forever Farm. So again, thank you for your time. We really want to get here so that you hear it first, and I think we've done that. And we will really look forward to working with each of you and the planning board as we go through this process together.
Wonderful. Very good. Thank you. Does council have any questions?
I do.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I know that this is all in the planning stage, but what were you looking to rezoning? You were looking for rezoning and a text amendment to what?
Yeah, we're actually thinking that we wouldn't change the district.
Okay.
So the current district allows agritourism and residential. So we're really just modifying. Now we are then, as I mentioned, doing a conditional rezon. So you'd be getting a conditional plan out of it, but we would not be changing districts.
Okay. The Greenway, I know we've looked into trying to do Greenway. That component is very nice. And I will tell you this. I mean, in my time in council, I think we've all have had people come and say, "Oh, this is going to be unique and great for Weddington." I hear that a lot. But this is the first time I think that I really presented something that really is unique and I think really kind of does fit into the spirit of Weddington. How many homes are you looking to put on? Are they going to be renting? I know you said renting, not owned, correct? Do you have any idea how many homes you're looking at?
Yeah, so when we looked at the RCD district, essentially allows one home for 40,000 square feet. And so one of our points is that we will not seek to increase our residential density above that. And that comes out to about 233.
So you're looking to put 233 homes?
That would be the max.
Okay, in that area
In
that
the
you.
yellow areas, those are the only areas that would be allowed.
Okay. Have you gone as far, traffic impact analysis, have you done that already?
It is underway.
Okay. I mean, I think that's one of the things that concerns me the most is just the traffic.
Sure.
With the components that you're putting in there, with the inn, and which of the inn, I thought there was going to be more rooms in the inn. That's a nice size,
It's a rural treat.
Sure, and I, I think that's a reasonable amount. But the traffic does concern me a little bit. You're going to have more than residents coming in.
That's right. It won't be traffic neutral.
Right, and
There will
so,
be an increase in
and
trips.
with the fact that we're kind of, with DOT not doing any road improvements for a considerable amount of time, and there is a lot of traffic at all hours going up and down 16, that is a concern. So I'm very curious to see what we can work out there. But I think that's it I have right now. I'm sure I'll have some more later on, but it is a unique project, and I look forward to talking with you guys in the future on this.
Yeah, thank you. One thing I failed to mention too is we hope we will earn your support in the green light. And the moment that happens, we go to work the next morning at 6 a.m.
One
So
other
this
thing,
is not a plan that we think 5 years and then we start. We actually go to work at 6 a.m. the moment we hopefully are successful in working with your partnership.
the one other thing that I do want to add is, although the timeline seems like it is 4 months, it seems like it is kind of a quick timeline for me. This is something unique and it doesn't give some chances for feedback. I'd like more time for the council to have feedback and sharing this with you because it is so unique. And I think that we would like to have a dialogue, I would assume. So it just seems kind of a little bit of a tight timeline for me at least. So maybe hopefully we can work that out, but that's all I have.
Hey, I want to read this because it makes it easier for me. I'm excited about the opportunity and what you guys are proposing in Weddington. They commend you for taking such a creative approach in the development and preservation of the land. But I do have a few questions. I know this is kind of specific here, but how is Roots Farm listed with the North Carolina Department of Revenue? Are you more of a retail venture or are you an educational resource? The reason I'm saying is because if you're educational, like what you were talking about today, then I understand that you could be exempt from sales tax. And I'm concerned about the loss of revenue. If we lose both the sales tax revenue plus the loss of possible property tax income potential, whether it's a farmland versus developed land, where is the funding going to come from in order to come into Weddington to help support the services, the residents, the visitors, such as fire, EMS, schools, police, roads? For example, you currently listed as a farm, you have 145 acres and one parcel, but your tax bill for 2020 was only $278. If this was developed with 180 homes noted in the other plan, that presentation could possibly have an average of say $600,000 a house. That would bring in approximately $54,000 a year in property taxes to Weddington. So since everything is just gonna be on a few parcels, do we know once developed, will the property be changed from a farm? Are you paying property taxes on those things in there? Will you have to pay sales tax? You know, financially, what are you bringing into Weddington? I mean, I love the plan, I love the idea, but financially, what are we bringing into us?
So I don't have the detailed answer for you, but I can tell you as we move forward, the expectation is that the residential uses themselves, as well as the inn and the agribusiness would be taxable, yes. The agricultural land itself would not be. We can, as we move through the process, we'll probably have an answer on that. And it may be that the taxes are actually better than if this were to develop single family.
Well, I just know that, you know, if you're considered educational, you know, if you have education in the inn, if you have education in the barn, those things are all, can all be tax exempt. So that's not helping us out at all. I mean, besides providing the service, yes.
The
But
intention is that the purely agricultural areas, which are a lot of the site, will remain farm tax exempt. But the agribusiness and agritourism elements, we believe will be taxable.
But like the farm, like the mushroom farms, are those wholesale? So they're not bringing any sales use tax into?
I don't know this use answer yet, but we will. But next time we see you, we'll have that answer.
Thank you.
Great question.
Good question.
Yeah.
Very good.
And Mike touched on my concerns about the traffic, which you say you are addressing. And I know you said there would be a webpage launch that residents, once they look at the plan, they can do some Q&A. I would only ask, would you also be like if an HOA or a neighborhood said, hey, have you got somebody that can come out and talk to our residents about this? Are you looking at that as another way to present this, you know, once the word gets out, as you said?
Yes, sir. That's already in flight. I've already spoken to several and we'll continue to do that. And we are, as I hope everyone feels, has been an open book and we'll continue that. In fact, I have a group coming out tomorrow.
Well,
so
good.
we are, regardless of the plan here, I feel like we've tried to be great neighbors and friends and open access. And so
Sure.
we've had a lot of people come through and stop in and ask, and
There's a lot of curiosity.
A lot of-
There's a lot of curiosity.
Well,
What
and I
is
think
it?
that's great. And if
So,
you've got people that can do that, that has answered my question.
Absolutely. In fact, our neighbors, our adjacent neighbors, we've been working with quite a bit. there's a lot of momentum on that side as well. Yes, sir.
So we know it's been quiet for a while, but that'll change this week. There will be a lot of information available.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I don't think council has any more questions. Thank you. I share too in everyone's excitement. I think we have a lot of asphalt and rooftops around here. I am a farm girl at heart. Grew up on my dad's cattle farm, so nothing thrills me more than to see the potential of 70% conserved open space. I think it's fantastic, and we're excited to continue
Great.
working with you all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, is everybody good? I'm gonna need a quick. Okay. All right, moving on. Oh yeah, that's a booby trap. That's a.
Wait.
That's a-
She's got,
that's
she has
a-
another one.
that's-
There's a baby on board.
I would-
Oh, you don't wanna do that, good gracious, that's not a good booby trap. Bye.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Randy.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to our consent agenda. Just have one item. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Does anybody have any questions? If not, we'll just look for a motion to approve the consent agendas
So
presented.
moved.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Approval of minutes. Are there changes to the October 12th, 2020 Town Council meeting minutes? If not, I'll look for a motion to approve.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Old business. This is the annexation agreement. We discussed this at our September meeting and gave direction to move forward. Lisa, I think you have a few changes.
Yeah, the only difference between the old agreement and the new, we took out the meets and bounds description. Those have changed a little bit. So we're gonna just reference the map in the agreement. And then the old agreement had a 5-year notification for termination of the agreement. And so that's negotiable. I put 120 days. I don't know if that's strong enough to make the agreement actually like an important enforceable agreement, but that's something to consider over the next month. We'll call for a public hearing tonight, and maybe we can talk with Marvin about that timeline for that termination of the agreement. The
Have
only
you
other-
discussed that at all with Marvin?
I have not.
Okay.
I've discussed that the 5 years was
Too long.
Too long.
You haven't discussed a happy medium
Yeah.
between. Okay.
And the only other change is I spoke to them about the property along Crane Road. Some of those parcels include the Roots Farm parcels.
Mhm.
So if they're developing a portion within Weddington, it would be nice if that section along
Sure.
working Crane Road is in Weddington, in our sphere. And they have agreed to let us have that if we want it. So that's the other talking point we'll have.
Okay.
And hopefully have it figured out before we get to you guys the next month. So
Okay.
tonight I'm looking for a motion to call for the public hearing.
Okay. Questions? All right. Look for a motion to call public hearing to be held Monday, December 14th, 2020 at 7 p.m. for consideration of approval for annexation agreement with the Village of Marvin.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Cooking along here. 12A, this was the discussion of the extraterritorial municipal jurisdiction. And I think, Jeff, you
Yes, ma'am.
have some information. All right,
Yes, ma'am.
you have the floor.
This is well, first off, I don't know, has everybody got a copy that wants a copy of what I'm talking about? If we've got them available, I know the council should have copies of it. This is our continuing evolution of our goal. When I say our goal, I mean this part of the county's goal with all the members of our Western Municipal Alliance, to try to get a handle on these unincorporated county parcels. Some are within our jurisdictions, which are donut holes, some are between jurisdictions, that we are seeing currently being proposed for projects that don't meet our zoning goals, our land use plans, specifically high density and high commercial activity. This is something I know council, we've been discussing this as we've been going along for the past several months. And what the Alliance, when we have had our last couple of meetings, what we are doing is trying to get this, a resolution before each of the town councils that each of the councils can approve, so that then when we meet together as a group, as the Alliance, we can then approve it to formally present to the Board of County Commissioners. I know at one of our previous meetings, I had kind of drafted out an outline of basically saying that, you know, we would ask the county, because currently they are working on their Union 2050 plan. And that is the timeline that we're trying to integrate with, we're trying to mesh up with. And for those that either attended the meeting that was the Ag Center a couple of months ago, or have had a chance to look at the minutes and what the current plan that the county is working on, they, in their plan, have called for what they're calling spheres of influence that the county decides for these unincorporated areas. And basically, these are areas where they're saying, okay, well, we will, as the county, allow the towns that are affected closest to these areas have their zoning ordinances apply. However, it does not, their spheres of influence that they are showing on their plan do not cover all of the unincorporated land. And so what we are trying to do with this proposal, this resolution, is have it, have the language in here that basically says this. The first thing that we as towns would do, communities would do in this part of the county, is look at voluntary annexation. We would go through and talk to folks that own this property and see if they want to be voluntarily annexed. Number two, if there are donut holes that exist that the owners, you know, do not want to be annexed in, that the county allows us jurisdiction over as far as, you know, controlling the zone in a donut hole. Now, by that I mean an unincorporated area that is completely surrounded within a municipality. For example, the one that we had where the the school that went on the former evangelical seminary went. That is an unincorporated Union County property, okay? Thirdly, that leaves the unincorporated areas that lie between municipalities. And what we are asking the county for in this resolution is that instead of using the spheres of influence that they have designated, that they allow us as the affected communities to look at them together, to establish a committee that would look at them, and then we as the communities affected would decide which makes more sense for the town to have a sphere of influence over that area, and then that would be granted to us. Now, I will say this, my compliments to our town attorney, Karen Walters, for putting this together, because she took basically all the stuff I had written and had been trying to discuss with y'all for the last 10 minutes and put it in a much neater, more understandable format. That's her job, and she did a great job on it. So when you read that, that is distilling down, because I've had many conversations with Karen about what we're talking about. It's what we're trying to accomplish. Now, as far as a timeline, what we're hoping to do, and I say we, the members of the Alliance, and in a moment I'm going to ask Ann to chime in with, because she was at our last meeting, and make sure I'm not leaving anything out. But the timeline we're trying to work on is this month to have each town council, like we're doing right now, look at this resolution and say yay or nay, or yay with these changes, we think this wording needs to be changed, or whatever. Then when we're having our November meeting on November 19th, in 2 weeks, the Alliance, we will get together and we can look at this and say, okay, if it's not changed, if everybody passes it as written, then we can, as a group, vote to accept it and say, yes, we're ready to present this formally to the county commissioners. If there's some changes that, you know, different towns are looking at that want to be done, then we have to hash those out, then get it in a final format that we will then bring back to our councils in December for approval. And then after that December meeting of WUMA, then we would present it to the county commissioners after that. The goal being to have this rule, these procedures incorporated into the Union 2050 plan when it is scheduled to be finalized after the first of the year, sometime in January or February. So with all of that said, and I'm gonna see
You guys
if you-
can add anything to that one.
if you've got anything to add, or if anybody on council's got a specific question for me, I'll be glad to try to answer.
So I just have, when you're talking about the spheres, is that what they were calling the transition zones?
Yes, the transition, yeah, I was using,
No, that's okay. I just,
My
because I know that
terminology
was.
my terminology, spheres of influence, their terminology was
Was
transition zones.
So does that mean that on the comprehensive plan, they will no longer be, I mean, are you asking to change the designation of those transition zones to whatever designation?
What we would ask, what we're basically asking with this resolution is that if the county commissioners agree, then the alliance group, we would then go back to each of our towns. Ann and I would come back to this meeting and say, okay, the county has said we're good to go with this. We need to get a couple of members together because we're going to put a committee together
Okay.
from all the towns, all the members, that are going to sit basically at a big table like this with a map.
And look at
and
those.
they're gonna
Similar
look
to
at-
what we're doing with Marvin.
Yeah, they're going to do
Okay.
that. We're
Okay.
going to,
Similar to something like
Yes.
Okay, I got you.
and
Okay,
then
okay,
we would, and after we hash all that out and the towns agree,
okay.
with the, you know, in this part of the county agree about it,
Mhm.
then we would take that back to the county and say, okay, here's
Okay.
what needs to be incorporated in the plan. This is how it needs to be stated and designated
Okay.
in the plan. And the reason for this, you can look at we passed a resolution at our last meeting in October in support of Wesley Chapel for that development that they're proposing over there near them. That's going to be bigger than, what is it, Lake?
Yeah, yeah.
Millbridge.
Giant.
Whatever.
The one,
The Millbridge?
yes, the bigger
As
Millbridge.
soon as we're through discussing
Where they go to
this,
school.
we've got another resolution because Mineral Springs just, at our last one meeting,
Yeah, this-
they've got another project next to them that is high density, and I'll talk about that in a second. This stuff is coming. We can't, if we as the representatives of the people that live in this part of the county want to try in any way to have more of a say in what is going on these unincorporated pieces of property that still are under county jurisdiction, we've got to get something before the commissioners now, because this stuff is happening just like that. And the evidence, I mean, and I'm not making this up because, like I said, Wesley Chapel's dealing with it right now, Mineral Springs is dealing with it, and I don't want us to be the next to be dealing with something like this. So, anyway, that's, I know I'm getting a little.
You get
but
excited, that's passion. That's passion.
I hate to see that happening, because when you see a presentation about these folks that want to preserve stuff, and then you look at the details of what they're proposing next to Wesley Chapel, it's opposite ends of a spectrum.
Right.
And our citizens don't want that end. So, anyway.
Very good. Does anybody, oh, Andy, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, if you've got any,
No. That was-
well, it's just.
I'm just the back end here. I just have to with the
Support
website.
staff, support staff. Okay, Janice,
No,
no questions?
I don't have any questions.
This isn't, but you're looking to draft a document to propose to the
You want
council.
No,
us
this-
to, you want us
This is the
to.
document.
We're
This is
approving this, you guys are gonna
if-
approve this tonight.
If it's approved, if whatever final form this resolution takes, the intent is that I and Amanda Fuller, the vice chair, myself as chairman and Amanda as the vice chair, we would make
I'll turn, Dewey, and I agree. Can we, take a little bit of time just to digest this? Can we set up a Zoom vote, or can we set up, just call back for a special meeting or a special Zoom vote just to go through to vote for this?
So we can all sit without a conversation.
and again, if I'd had this sooner, I know Karen got this out to me, I think last Thursday. So it's not, I tried to get it out as soon as we
No,
could.
it's fine. I mean, we can, we can call a special meeting and come, we can call for a special meeting and come back in here and whenever it's convenient and
I'd rather Zoom, because I mean, because that
Yeah.
way we can be
I mean,
wherever we want to be.
Exactly.
Either,
I'm gonna
either
be-
way, but I think that's where we are, where if, we'll get the logistical part set up, but we'll get just
I mean, I could
whatever
Zoom
your time that you need to set up for your
2
48
days.
hours.
What do you need?
48 hours.
Tonight, can we call for a special meeting tonight, so we don't have to get a special notice?
So
Okay,
what,
so let's-
so what about Friday? Are you
Well,
supposed,
we're gonna call for a special meeting for, yes, let's just do that, so we'll go ahead and set it up.
everybody, Friday?
I don't see why not.
As early as possible, though.
Do we wanna just do
Thursday,
it
Friday?
at 9 o'clock Friday
Yeah,
morning?
either one.
All right, at 9 a.m. Friday morning,
Friday 9.
Okay,
is that good?
yes, ma'am.
Friday night.
Virtual Zoom, so we'll just have the virtual Zoom at 9 o'clock, and it will be just a vote for this.
Friday night.
Does that give you time, Jeff? When is y'all's meeting?
Yes, ma'am, it's the 19th.
Okay, so that gives.
That gives me.
Okay.
That way we
plenty
can
of time.
all sit with it and read.
That's
Digest it.
fine.
No, I think
That's
that's
fine.
a good thing.
So
Okay,
we need a motion to call for a special meeting.
okay, so I need a, okay, call for a special meeting on Friday, November 13th at 9 a.m. to consideration for the resolution supporting the incorporation of extraterritorial municipal zoning jurisdiction in the Union County 2050 Comprehensive Land Use Plan.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm just calling for it.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, very good.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll do that Friday morning.
Mhm.
Let's see, now where are we? We are consideration of resolution in to support the town of Mineral Springs against high-density rezoning of 4004 Newtown Road.
Okay, and I'll make this brief. Basically, the mayor of Mineral Springs just brought this up at our last meeting in October. A proposed development is called Oak Grove Estates, I believe that's correct, is being proposed based on a piece of property near Newtown and Potter. And in a nutshell, they want to put 80 homes on where Mineral Springs adjacent zoning would only allow 33. So basically 3 times as many homes,
Say that again?
Actually, it's Union County zoning.
or Union County zoning.
Currently, you can put 33 homes, they only want to put 80
Yes.
some homes.
They
And that's
wanna put-
called an estate.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's called Oak Grove Estates.
Oh,
And we're gonna say, we don't really support
And-
that type of density.
and this is a transition zone.
Yes.
So Mineral Springs, just as Wesley Chapel did
Okay.
at our last meeting, is
Asking
asking,
for a resolution.
they
Okay.
are submitting a resolution in opposition to this to the commissioners. They are asking other member
Okay,
communities to do the same.
awesome.
And that's the long and the short.
All right, so I'm guessing it's pretty self-explanatory. I'll look for a motion
So
to
moved.
approve.
So-
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
12C, solid waste collection. All right, this is exciting to see on the agenda. I will say, I know Councilman Smith has talked with folks in the past, and it's been something that has kind of been in his wheelhouse before. I know I've had some very passionate discussions with Lisa in the past.
About sewage.
I
know, I'm just
about garbage
Waste.
and, you know, and a lot of that has been personal frustration, but we have had several very exciting discussions, and I know just recently Councilman Pruitt brought it to Lisa as well. So I think this has been a topic that has been discussed and has been in our wheelhouse, and I think you guys did discuss it at WUMA, correct? Or a little bit?
I can give you a little bit.
Okay, so I'll let you, so anyway, it's kind of exciting. I think we're in the researching phase, and so I will, Lisa, do you want to give your report? Talk to
Anna's gonna do it.
Okay, you're gonna give the report.
Yes.
Okay.
So, okay, wait, thank you, Liz.
I wasn't sure because I have done, okay, all right.
Regarding the solid waste discussion update, I did mention this to the other municipalities in the Western Union Municipal Alliance meeting last month. At that point, we've asked that they take the information back to their councils, basically just to see if they would be interested in exploring the option as a group. And as of right now, we do know that Marvin is the only one that's really voiced any opinions. We did ask that those members from when we come back to our November meeting, and to let us know if they're interested in joining on to that. Once we know after that November meeting, then we will be able to send out our required notices.
Okay.
We do have to wait 4 weeks from that date of the notices going out to start exploring options and to have any discussions about it. So I'm not trying to be vague. We're just trying to make sure we follow all
The
know what's
guidelines.
going on. So right now, at this point, what we're doing is we are just looking to see if anybody else is interested in joining in our exploration and hoping we can get some more information back here within the next 30 days. We can kind of go from there. I think that's, Lisa, kind of in a nutshell what we had talked about.
Okay.
I don't know if there's anything else you want to add.
Yeah, so I was just looking for head nods to go ahead and send out those notices that are required for the 4 weeks prior to our first discussion. So if you guys are okay with that, we'll go ahead and do that per state statute. And then that'll be the first discussion that starts a 15-month displacement. So no decisions needed. It's just the statute required to get the ball rolling to find out more information before we can even send out an RFQ or RFP.
Okay, so you're just looking for a head nod for that, but are you looking for, I mean, what
That's
will,
it.
that's it?
That's all we can talk.
Basically what it is we can't have any discussions on it until there has been a notice
Got
put
it.
out. So
And the notice has to go out for 4
this
weeks.
isn't saying this is what we want to do. This is saying we're gonna have the discussion, but we
Gotcha.
have to give that notice
Okay.
first.
Okay.
So are you good? Jen?
Discussion's fine, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You good? Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So if you guys will move forward with that, we can start doing some research. All right. Do we have Kevin on? Are we at there yet? Yeah, we're at.
How do I get him? Here he is.
Good evening.
Hey. Hello.
Hey, everybody.
How are you?
I'm excellent. Hope all of you are.
We're fantastic. Can't you hear all the fun we're having here?
I can. The energy level sounds great. It's a good show.
Yeah. We hope our residents think so.
Understand. So yeah, I've been here. I've certainly listened to the the Roots Farm presentation as well. So I think that's actually informative for my topic tonight. That I just want to give you all a brief update on our UDO project. Lisa and I had a productive meeting with your planning board at the last planning board meeting to go over Article 7 of the draft UDO. We ended up with fairly limited comments from the planning board, but I just want to take maybe 5 minutes to kind of walk you all through this and then give you all something if you'd like to take home for some evening reading. If you all have comments or questions, certainly feel free to follow up with Lisa or myself as we're going forward. But reminder, we're organizing these sections exactly the same as the new state statute, so 160D. So Article 7 of this draft UDO is the same as Article 7 of the state statute. 701 is a statement of purpose, not a whole lot of legal significance there. The planning board did give us a comment there to make sure we cross-referenced into the land use plan. So I thought that was a good practical comment, and pleased that folks are definitely following the idea that we're have this ordinance kind of tracking land use plan ideas. So that's 701, just a statement of purpose. 702. Is simply, again, tracking the state statute, acknowledging the zoning power, but also noting the limitation right out of state statute about generally not able to regulate design in residential housing. That's, of course, you can in commercial, but this is the language that puts that limitation on us. Next section, and obviously you all have at top of your list, hey, making sure everything that's of importance in your existing ordinance shows up in this rewrite. And this is the basics of it right here, is the section on zoning districts. The state statute terminology is a conventional district or a conditional zoning district. So we have just, we're really not changing anything. We've listed what your existing conventional districts are, and then we've listed what your existing conditional zoning districts are, and then what the language says after we have the list basically states that an applicant and property owner can ask for a conditional zoning district on something else, just like you heard the beginnings of tonight from the applicant on the Roots Farms. So again, same, nothing new there. Okay, subsection C there, zoning map. Your zoning map will stay the same. Right. Permitted uses, just making it clear that really you're going to end up with two categories of permitted uses. Ones that are allowed by right, where our rules are already laid out in the UDO, and then a second category of uses that may be allowed with the conditional zoning process. And here's the part I think we'll get here is the part I'd like you all to zero in on if you take home a little reading. Lisa pulled together here a summary chart of the permitted uses, and this chart is a lot of pages of text in your current ordinance, okay? But if you put it in this chart form, you save a lot of space. Just to orient you to this, across the top of the columns, you'll see all of your existing zoning districts, okay? And then if you go down the first column, we list uses that are in your ordinance now, and we identify per zoning district whether they're allowed by right or whether they're allowed with the conditional zoning process. That's the full legislative process that comes through you. The second column will end up being updated. Those are the supplemental regulations. The references there right now are currently, are to your current ordinance provisions. Will end up in Article 9, all in one place with any particular additional rules that are associated with particular uses in Weddington. So that's the next area that's coming, where you folks are going to want to say, hey, are all our normal conservation residential development rules there, and that they'll show up in section 9 and they'll be cross-referenced here. So if I could give you or a citizen or somebody who really want to understand this, if you understand this table is a really nice quick way to get an overview of what's permitted in town and under what process. So I think Lisa did a fantastic job with that. Next chart that saved us a lot of space. We also summarized the yard requirements, and that's minimum lot size and setbacks and all of that, again, in a chart instead of multiple repetitive pages. Planning board seemed to like that, really seemed to follow that well, and I guess that would be the second thing I'd ask you to take 5 or 10 minutes to look at. If again, you see, if you understand these two charts, I think folks will see very clearly that we're tracking real closely to your current rules, and that all those rules are all going to be here, just well organized in one place. And I really think that's it for the rest of it. It's a reserved section and quasi-judicial hearings, which is really only going to apply to zoning board of adjustments. So that's kind of a fast crash course through what we presented at the planning board. Again, their comments were limited. I think they really liked the charts, and we'll have a heavier lift with them coming up here at the end of this month, with really the part that's going to be the most text, which will be, we'll do some on Article 8, but then Article 9 is all the uses and the rules around the uses. So that's where we'll have the most volume. So that's it. Happy to answer any questions. Just wanted to follow through like I told you we would at the beginning, and keep you informed as this thing's moving along.
Kevin, just real quick for clarity, everything in these charts were essentially copied and pasted, correct? I mean, there hasn't been any additions. Everything has just been essentially copied and pasted.
That's correct. There's no intention of changing anything there. Like you see a little red line there. I'm making a recommendation of changing terminology to say conservation residential development. And the reason I'm saying that is that there's a little bit of confusion, I think, at least in your ordinance, of using the word subdivision kind of two ways, both as like a noun, like it's the neighborhood, and a verb, like it's the subdividing of the land. And so that's kind of a nitpicky thing a little bit, but section 8 is going to be the subdivision, meaning dividing into lots process. And article 9 is going to be the uses, one of them being conservation residential development, which will have all your rules. So, well, with the slight caveat of maybe a little tweaking of vocabulary, the answer to your question is yes, it's all the same.
Okay, that's what I thought.
That's one of the retail office.
Say that again.
We had a list of uses for retail office that were only allowed for what's already built out. So those specific uses are in those plans for the 2 shopping centers. So we got rid of those retail office uses. Anything else besides residential or anything listed on this table has to come through a CZ process. There is no reason to have those uses listed because they're listed on the site development plan.
Okay,
That's it. So just go check.
okay, that's fine. Okay, great. If we have any questions, we'll follow up. I don't have any. You guys have any? Jeff, you good? Okay. All right, I think we're good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All righty. Okay. Okay, we have a consideration of proclamation 2020-07 in honor of U.S. Coast Guard Ensign Morgan Garrett. I'm guessing most of you all have heard of the tragic accident of Ensign Morgan Garrett. She died on October 23rd in a flight training accident in Alabama. She was a Weddington High School resident and a 2015 graduate of Weddington High School. And we would like to approve this proclamation in honor of her memory. I will open the floor for council comments. That's tragic.
It's very exciting, very tragic.
It's an appropriate thing for us to be
Yes.
doing, because she was everything I learned about her, she was a very outstanding young lady who represented this town very well.
Yeah, I've talked to several people that knew her very closely. And, quite hard to get through this. Something else we've also done, just as a note, and we'll discuss further how we're going to honor her with regard to involving her family. But we have added her onto the veterans. Gosh, I think I'd be upset. So we have added her to the Veterans Memorial, and we will get with her family if they so desire to be a part of some kind of commemoration to her. So I will look for a motion to approve the proclamation 2020-07 in honor of U.S. Coast Guard Ensign Morgan. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to add, the Coast Guard approved posthumous promotion for her. So she'll be Lieutenant JG.
Okay.
And that's just a change. I just wanted you to know.
Okay.
You do it. You approve.
Yeah. Okay.
I would like to make a motion that we approve Town of Weddington Proclamation P 2020-08 in honor of Lieutenant J.G. Morgan L. Garrett.
In favor? Aye.
Aye.
All righty.
Thanks, Jeff.
Update. Lisa, do you have an update?
I did receive a draft grading plan for our park property next door, so I'll get that out tomorrow with some comments. There's some concerns about the parking areas that we'll have to figure out, but otherwise it's going well. I received a final plat for the old Woodford Chase 9-lot subdivision across from WCWA. You guys saw the 3-lot final plat. It's now back to a 9-lot final plat. They're calling it Cardinal Row.
Cardinal Road.
I mean, means nothing.
Cardinal Road.
I did receive, the Woods Yield Plan. They are calling that Woodbridge, now. I submitted some comments after reviewing that yield plan and did receive, changes to that plan as of today. So I'll get that finalized and hopefully we can set up a sidewalk within the next couple of weeks and get that going.
Very good.
And then, Karen and I drove the Santa Parade or Santa drive-through, fire truck drive-through to the neighborhoods today to try to time that out so we can get out sometime social media about what times the fire truck will be through each neighborhood. So we can start advertising that.
About how long was it? An hour and 45 minutes.
I was driving pretty fast.
In the neighborhood.
That was just stopping it every now and then, so it was.
So it's a 3-hour tour?
I think the 2 hours, when I did it on Google Maps, it ended up being just about 2 hours, so it's not gonna be a 6-hour adventure.
Yeah, that's okay.
Deputy, did you hear that admission there?
All right.
Now,
Now, what's this, about the house? What about planning? I know I've seen the guys over there. Do we have an updated date?
It's still December 5th for the burn.
Okay.
They're in there training as of now, so.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Going well.
All right, good. Code enforcement. We're down to 3/4 of the page.
Notice.
great.
All right, any questions? All right. Okay, update. Leslie, you have the monthly financials in the packet. We have begun phone meetings to start the implementation of the new financial software. That will happen sometime after the first of the year. Taxes are coming in good and we're looking good. Awesome. Any questions? Okay. All right, transportation report. I have just a couple of quick things. Lisa did mention this last month. The TCC had their meeting before our meeting, and then we had our CRTPO after. So this is just reiterating a little bit of good news from DOT. They had some limited funding, about $2 million, that they are asking the MPO to put towards some of the discretionary projects. 57 discretionary projects in the region have been put on hold. So they're just asking for a short list of any of those projects that they can use that $2 million towards. And the Tilly Morse Roundabout was on that short list. So I think it comes to us, to the board for a vote in November. So that's a little bit of excitement. That just means that that'll be for right-of-way acquisition. So that means that we are just a little closer to construction date. I don't know if they've identified it yet. So that's kind of exciting. This is just another quick update. This doesn't impact Weddington, but I believe, other than our tax dollars, but I believe Joe Polino with Marvin is going to mention at the women meeting. We had a meeting with Marvin, Waxhaw, Mineral Springs, Wesley Chapel, and Bjorn Hansen from the county came here Friday. These are all the CRTPO delegates, and the purpose was to discuss the US 74 widening from 45 to Uptown Charlotte. That's been on a project that the CRTPO has been, it's been on their STIP project, on their STIP list. The project has almost doubled in price. It's gone from 600 million to a little over $1 billion. And when you look down at the breakdown per mile, I mean, it's an astronomical cost. So it's very complicated how the policies and how these projects are approved. But the bottom line is we discussed on Friday the topic of how we potentially change the policy that doesn't bind us into projects without the ability to change the scope of them. That we don't have the ability to say, okay, that's an awful lot of money. Can we just do something a little bit different, or can we do it in phases, or can we modify it? That we don't have the ability to do that the way the policies are written. So we either pay over $1 billion for this, or we completely pull it off. I say we, the board would never vote to do it. I mean, it would be a very difficult task, and I don't know that that's the right thing. The bottom line is we discussed the policy and how we changed the policy. So we had that discussion with the municipalities on Friday. Joe's going to mention it to the WUMA group, and it may be that we just bring it to the board and just kind of start throwing some ideas out. This is the state, this is the legislative change, so it would require a lot of work from the NPO, but it just seems like we get bound into things, and that's a lot of money. $1 billion is a lot of money for 9 miles of road. So that's kind of, so they'll mention it, that's kind of where, I don't know what Joe, but when he left here on Friday, he said he was gonna mention it. So anyway, other than our taxpayer dollars, it doesn't directly impact us, but that's so whatever he said. Council comments? Go ahead.
I just want to thank everybody for coming and wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Hope everybody has a great
Oh,
holiday.
that's right, we won't be back until.
Same thing. Thanks everybody for coming out tonight. Thank you Roots Farm for your presentation, and everybody have a happy, safe, maskless with your family Thanksgiving.
Same to everybody. Thank you for coming out, and it was a long meeting, but we had a lot of really good conversations today. And we're excited about everything. So we have a happy Thanksgiving.
I'll echo all the other comments. Happy Thanksgiving. And again, for me, a special thanks to the town staff for all their support in helping me get this one piece of paper put together for us to talk about. I appreciate that.
Well, y'all leave absolutely nothing for me to ever say. Happy Thanksgiving. Be safe. I would like to thank, we thank our staff. We always love our staff, but I would like to thank the council. You guys work hard for the town and are dedicated, and I appreciate everything you do. So thanks. Thank you, council. All right, that being said, I will look for a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All right. That's a wrap, folks.
That's all right.
All right.
I will take this up. I'll leave it.
What's wrong?